Willie
Hello everyone, welcome to Professionally Unprofessional. No, I'm the wrong one!
You idiots!
Try this again. Hello everyone, welcome to Anime Amigos. I'm Calvin Atkinson, the Pokemon Punk.
I'm Ren, the JoJo genius.
Wrong order, idiots!
You looked at me! For fuck's sake, you've thrown us all off!
Reese isn't back in hospital, is he?
Let's try this again. Welcome. Yes, okay. Welcome to Anime Amigos. I'm Calvin Atkinson.
This is absolutely an episode for the blooper reel. This entire episode is going to be a blooper reel. We're not even going to get to the subject.
Right, scrap the recording, we're going home.
I was going to say, the recording almost didn't even fucking work. The joys of our organisation.
Hello, this has to stay in. Hello everyone, welcome to Anime Amigos. I'm Calvin Atkinson, the Pokemon Punk.
Stop looking at Ren, you're confusing him.
That's what I mean, thank you.
I'm literally looking at you, turn your head to him. I'm leaning.
That's what throws me off.
I'm Calvin Atkinson, the Pokemon Punk. Hello everybody.
What?
You go, Ren. I mean.
What this tells me is that he doesn't know the order either.
Right, okay then. Let's do this again. Hello everyone, welcome to Anime Amigos. I'm Calvin Atkinson, the Pokemon Punk.
Oh, is it my turn now?
Yes.
Because I wasn't sure, because it's been Ren's twice so far.
All this is staying in, by the way. We are not cutting any of this out.
Say it, Reese.
Right, I'm Reese the Gundam Guru.
I'm Ren, the JoJo genius.
I'm Elliot, the Vangard Vagrant. I think, unless Calvin has other opinions. And you know, I always do an opening gag for one of these, but I thought, what's better than one opening gag? Multiple opening gags. So I just have a bunch of anime jokes here to tell you all. So, what do you call a sword-wielding anime character who can't stop making jokes? A Punisher.
Oh.
Okay, here's another one. Why did the anime character bring a pencil to a fight? Because they know how to draw the sword. I guess that's clever. What's the difference between a JoJo fight and a normal fight? One's got standards. Okay, that's just kind of...
Okay,
Why did the shonen protagonist fail the math class? Because he couldn't find the X, but he did find his friends along the way. Okay, one second. I'm gonna make a call. I'm gonna make some calls quickly.
Okay. Who might you be contacting here? Oh. Okay, I'm getting a call right now. Hello.
Mate, what the fuck are these jokes?
I thought you wanted something good.
Mate, honestly, God, what do you mean with something? These are shit. Honestly, God, I don't know what you're doing. These jokes are terrible. Like, look, I know I got lazy, I know I asked you, but I respected better than this. Like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? How does Goku prefer to relax after a long day of training? He takes a super bath. You can't just put super in an answer and expect it to be funny. That doesn't fucking work. Like, what about this one? What did the weebs say when they saw their crush? You're so quiet, you made my heartbeat like a filler episode. That's not even fucking funny. What kind of punchline is that? Honest to God, Ren.
I did my best, I'm so sorry.
Your best is terrible. Like, what did you do? How did you...
I consulted my good friend, Gary, the AI.
Oh my God, you used Frank, didn't you?
Yes.
You used Frank. He's a dead AI. He's literally a dead AI. He died 7 episodes ago. What the fuck are you doing?
I thought you might be able to help me out.
Mate, it's shit. I'm sorry. Next time you do better, alright? Next time actually come up with your own fucking jokes.
Okay, hang up.
You're not getting your toes back.
Please.
So
sorry about that.
So I think that's apt because we're talking about bad anime endings.
Yeah.
And we haven't managed to have good starts.
So, I mean, what's better than a bad ending?
I want to stress now that we're not talking about the ending themes. We're talking about the end of the show.
Yeah, we're talking about like last episodes.
Yeah. Last episodes or conclusions to storylines.
Mm-hmm. We're not talking about anime that have had a sequel. Or like, or reboots and shit like that.
Well, okay, well, that brings us into the point. What do you think, guys? Well, I think we need to sort of specify a few things. Like, before we go into specifications, there will be spoilers ahead, but I don't know ahead of time everything we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to be making notes as we're going, and everything that we talk about enough to warrant a spoiler alert is going to be in the description. So if we're talking about it and it's in the description, you're going to want to avoid this because we are going to spoil the shit out of it.
Yeah. To be quite frank, if you know the ending's going to be shit, you might not want to watch them.
Yeah.
No, to be fair though, some people disagree. Like, I'm going to disagree with... Ren's already told me ahead of time what his main pick is.
Yes.
And I disagree with his one completely.
I also think you're wrong about that, so it will be an interesting discussion.
So, incidentally, I had one I wanted to do, but I didn't want to spoil another show in order to spoil that one.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, I'll go into that in a minute, but because I'm going to bring it up in another sense. What do we think makes a bad ending? Like, what really makes a bad ending to a show? Because I think you only really know it's a bad ending if the show was really good leading up to that ending and it doesn't quite land.
Yes. When I was trying to come up with ones, I was trying to, like, it's hard to remember the ones that you were unimpressed by. Like, it's only the ones that you were invested in, I think, and then like just kind of book the whole show.
So for example, there's a bunch of them where I thought, well, yeah, but when I was looking up examples, I thought, yeah, but the whole show's bad.
Yeah.
Why would you not be surprised the ending was also terrible?
I also found ones where the endings were bad for not very good reasons. Like one I consistently saw was Death Note. But the reason why was just because they found it unsatisfying that it was Nia who caught Light and not L.
But where's L?
The final episode was great.
Yeah.
I loved that final episode. I thought it was amazing.
And Death Note goes on the list.
Well, I think there's a difference between like you liking the ending and you considering it to be bad. Like, you know, it might be like a romance show and your choice of partner doesn't get picked.
Well,
like that's
So
disliking.
the thing is, though, how many of that is due to headcanoning, for example?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So, for example, I'll give you a prime example. One's coming up later, Darling in the Franxx. Well, it's very clear that even if you had Ichigo in your headcanon with Hero,
which
I guess for another answer, Fruit Basket.
Yeah.
Because I imagine some people like wanted one partner. I'm not gonna say who Toru ends up with in case they haven't watched it, but I imagine like people were with one partner. Meanwhile, other people wanted another, and they might dislike the ending because they didn't get their specific pair.
Yeah.
But even so, I would say though,
but it's not a bad ending.
And my counter argument would be, well, yeah, but that whole of, at least for the beginning of season 2, they were really emphasising it was going to be this outcome.
Yeah. From that midpoint, I mean, there's always like a kind of, you know, canon.
So that means I think in season 3 they were definitely building up that one.
Oh yeah, but I really noticed it from like season 2 onwards.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
okay, so I'll give you another. I think one I held off a lot of when I was making my shortlist for what I was going to pick for my main example was no ones that had. It was a to be continued that didn't get a to be continued, or the sequel fixed it.
Yeah.
So, for example, I've heard a lot of people say Code Geass actually would fix a lot of my issues. A lot of my issues with that ending would be fixed if I watched
Rose's recapture.
that stuff. I would actually like that ending a lot
I do
more.
suggest watching Rose's recapture anyway. It's fucking
But
sick.
another one, so Stars Align was one I think we all avoided because that was a to be continued that it did get continued, but no one saw it.
Well,
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was a web-only series. No one saw it.
But by that logic, people would also say Evangelion maybe because.
Oh yeah, Evangelion's ending is bad, but that got fixed by the movies.
Yeah.
Some people would.
Well, to counterpoint that, the movies aren't a continuation of the anime.
Yeah, no, the movies are a reboot, but the point is
Yeah.
the movies gave it the ending it should have had, and the middle and the beginning it should have had.
And
But in advance though, the anime is still separate in its own package.
Another
So,
one.
and the movies are their own
Yeah,
continuity.
But
So the bad anime ending still exists to that anime only.
Yeah. So I just want to say about Evangelion, I haven't actually seen the ending, but I like the way that it sounds and the way that it's described. I get that it's unsatisfying and doesn't give the closure.
But it's a nothing ending.
Another one I saw quite often was the original Full Metal Alchemist. The Brotherhood came out, so I don't know if we can really count that one.
I would say it still counts because again, it follows Reese's point. It is a separate timeline. It is a separate.
Also, I actually like the Full Metal Alchemist ending. I thought it was alright.
Okay, I'll give you one that I thought was a bad ending. But I think the worst kind of endings for me are ones that contradict the whole thing that came before it.
The whole build-up.
The whole build-up. That's the worst kind of thing for me. It contradicts everything that was built up.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example of this one, and the one I wanted to use but didn't use, and I won't go into too much detail but it's Eureka 7 AO, which was the first time they were going to do a direct sequel to my favourite anime, Eureka 7. And I always thought there was a few points. I always thought it was very difficult to make a sequel to Eureka 7 because it has a perfect ending and a very definitive ending. And also, they did a terrible job trying to show the alternate universe timeline with the movie Good Night Sleep type young lovers.
Yeah.
which is a terrible title for a film. But the whole reason I hate that ending, and I won't go into detail about why, is not only does it kind of does that whole show kind of erase the ending of the original, which I hate it when they keep doing that, but it's also because it contradicts everything. The whole point of Eureka 7's ending is you're not dictated by fate.
Mm-hmm.
You can fight back. You can earn your happy ending. Whereas Eureka 7 AO says, nah, it was always gonna be shit, so you might as well run with it and make the best of it. And I hated that. Also, the fact the villain was a nothing character, and the ending and the ending basically just erased the entire timeline and set up a new timeline, which is also a lazy writing for me.
So was this the ending of this season that ruined it for you, or was it the season as a whole?
Well, the season as a whole, that's why I didn't put it on the thing.
Sorry, okay, yeah.
The thing, but that ending is particularly bad because it also contradicts the entirety of the franchise going up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that ending stood out for me. So I'm adding that one in because that's kind of a spoil that I've said the timeline gets.
This is the reason why I picked. This isn't my ending, the ending I picked. But another one I really hate is when there's sort of a twist that comes out of nowhere and kind of contradicts a lot of the story and makes it all pointless. Like the one I think of is Dragon Quest: My Story.
Oh, true. That's
where it all turns out, oh no, the entire adventure you've been seeing turns out it was just like a virtual reality video game, and nothing you saw matters, and all the characters aren't real, and the main characters going, but they were real to me. Fuck off!
Yes,
But that one pissed me off a ton.
That one
because it was such a good acting.
It was a fucking amazing movie. Like, yeah, it was a bit fast paced, but it worked. And then completely ruined it.
Incidentally, could I say one that I think a lot of people might be screaming because it kind of fits your criteria, but I disagree. It fits the criteria. Is the anime Another? Did anyone watch that?
No.
I did.
Do you think that qualifies? Because I don't think it qualifies under those standards. Because I don't think that ending does come completely out of nowhere. There are clues throughout the show that lead you to that twist.
I like that ending. I do like that ending, actually. My one problem is just kind of... This main character... One of the characters with...
Pablo has entered the room.
Hang on. Before he goes.
Yes. Pablo can?
Pablo can.
Right, okay. This little squirming beast.
Pablo can.
Hello, Linda. Sorry.
It's alright.
Here he is.
Hello, Ripley. Come on, sweetheart.
Oh, quite a sight.
Well, that's staying in.
There's a message, Cal.
I'm going to put the hook on.
Yeah, well, we'll not. I'll let you know when we need to be let out.
Yeah.
To be released.
Thank you, Linda. Should we do a 3, 2, 1 back in?
No. We're leaving that shit in.
Anyway, back to another.
This has already gone as a disaster. Let's just keep running with it.
True.
Back to another. My main problem with the twist is that one of the main characters sort of with their doll eye has the ability to see spirits. So they could have seen who the person was the entire time, and I just think, why didn't you bring this up earlier?
I completely agree with you on that one. That
Thank
is
you.
another one though, where I'm like, wait, you know how many people might have not died because of that?
I like Another. I think it's a really cool anime, but that is kind of stupid.
I agree completely.
Thank you.
This is weird. This is a moment we two agree completely on something.
Well, one anime we all saw, I can't remember the name of. It was that girl who thinks she's a god.
Oh, the day I became God.
Yeah.
That was a shit ending.
What was it called again?
The day I became God, I'm pretty sure it was.
What was the one with the girl and the crow?
Oh, I was saying Yesterday for me.
Hello.
I actually didn't mind that ending.
Yeah.
I thought Yesterday for me had a pretty good ending, honestly.
Yeah, I thought it was alright.
I think it.
I think because I get what you mean, because he breaks up with one girl and then goes straight to that crow girl afterwards.
Yeah, it's a bit
but
like
I kind of think it's sort of the idea of you realize, like, it's all of a sudden, once one thing ends, you realise you love another.
Well, I think this might be another common theme for shows, but maybe not the ones that were nominated specifically, but shows that adapted too much in too little time. Because I understand that, like, actually there was quite a lot squeezed into the time at the end of that show.
Yeah.
That felt unsatisfying.
I think the rest of the show was paced pretty well, but that ending, there was just a lot to squeeze in, so they had to sort of condense it.
Yeah.
I still didn't mind the end.
The endings I also really don't like is this leads into a mobile game that's not available in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a load of those ones. I mean, I'm glad to say Grand Blue Fantasy, like the main one isn't over here, but
Yeah.
at least those games are starting to come over here, and
We got Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
which is one of the best things I've played.
I
all
am
year.
very happy by that. It's really good.
That's a brilliant game, but
Anyway, I think maybe now move on to the actual.
I wanted to throw one more thing in the mix
Yeah.
because you mentioned Fullmetal Alchemist, and one of my suggestions was going to be Hellsing, the original anime, because like obviously it just went anime only and just adapted its own story.
Yeah.
there's a lot more.
I don't actually mind the ending to the original
No,
Hellsing.
I don't think it was bad, but I think another like thing that we want to think about is like endings that were not like the worst, but not great maybe, but that then had a much better adaptation ending later. Like Fullmetal
but
Alchemist.
I mean, like, well, Fruits Basket was another one.
There's
Yeah,
only-
exactly,
there-
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Fruits Basket easily could have made the list because the ending of the 2001 version is terrible.
Oh god, really?
In fact, it really. I mean, the manga wasn't done at the time, so
Yeah.
I believe the manga wasn't done at the time. So
I don't think it was.
But but even then, it was like if they'd actually gone with that ending, they would have completely contradicted the ending that the manga would have done if they'd actually stuck with it. Also, it reveals the plot twist around one of the characters' identities a bit too soon as well.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, mainly Makika, her identity.
Yes, yeah.
That she gets revealed way more sooner.
There are so many anime to write down for the spoilers
Absolutely,
section.
yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've been keeping track of it so far.
Oh, there's also the one we discussed as well. I was going to piss off Ren. The ending of Stone Ocean.
Yes, I don't like that
I
ending.
know. I'm interested.
I nearly brought.
Yeah.
That was nearly going to be my one.
I'll be
actually.
I'll be honest, I
'Cause-
don't like the ending of
No,
JoJo's
yeah,
Stone
yeah,
Ocean.
you got-
all of you don't. I
Because
think.
the whole idea, I mentioned this on the way up. The
Yeah.
idea is basically, all the other characters are dead.
Yeah, yeah.
This is an alternate timeline. So just like, great.
Yes,
The
yeah,
characters
yeah.
I love are still dead and gone.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't really care about these new ones.
No, it's perfectly fair. It's perfectly valid, and I think that might be for me like a subjective versus like
I think
objective.
I think Stone Ocean was Araki's jump the shark moment when it comes to JoJo.
I get that. I mean, as a writer, you reserve the right just to kind of fuck off what you've done and then to try something new. But I get that that's controversial.
Yeah.
I mean, we could. I mean, if we ever wanted to do this in the future, we could do great endings to sort of.
Possibly,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I mean, I would like to do controversial endings because I think that would be nice.
But I think
I mean, that might fall under this,
actually,
yeah.
this might fall under this one. So before we go into the actual examples, let's talk. Can we think of any that we can think of as the controversial ending?
Weathering with You.
The Promise Neverland Season 2.
Yeah.
Though at the same time, that entire season was just shit.
Again,
So I don't know if we can count just the ending.
Serial Experiments Lane. But
Yeah.
then again, that's just a controversial show. I don't know.
I think that was pretty controversial. I would make the argument. Oh God, what's the one with the girl who lives with the polar bear? I think it was, or the bear. The manga author was so pissed off with it, he actually denounced the whole adaptation on Twitter.
No.
Ooh.
Bear in the Big Blue House.
I'll see, yeah.
It was
my
a
favourite
real-
anime.
But it was
Golden Compass.
no, it wasn't a polar bear. It was a different. It was a bear. She lived with a bear, and I remember. That's all.
I know. It's something and the Beast, right?
You've seen the Beast.
No, it's a different show I'm thinking of. But
You've seen the
I'll tell you
Beast
one I don't think. I think people are getting sick of anime not getting. I think one thing that's happening now as well is that people are getting sick of anime not having full adaptations.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to have to read the manga if they can avoid it.
Yeah.
So it's why they're insisting on season 3 and season 4 of shows.
I mean, we wouldn't be getting that if the show actually did well.
Yeah, but again, these shows are doing well. I mean, we're going to see the ending of My Hero Academia in anime form, and look what else we're going to see. We're probably going to see the ending of Demon School Iruma-kun in full because season 4 has just been announced.
Yay! So excited!
No satisfaction. I can't now say the name of that show without doing that.
Yeah, I do kind of get what you mean. We do have some shows that did pretty well, that were pretty good, but we're likely never going to see any more of.
Yeah. So, for example,
Like, I would love more a Cautious Hero, but I don't think we're going to, unfortunately.
I liked Alison Zoroku. That was one from like early on with us.
Yeah, that's never gonna get a
I
continuation.
thought that was a good show.
Did we get all of Love is War in the end with that film?
yes, no, it's not completed yet, but there are
No.
plans. For
Yeah,
it to
I think we
continue.
are probably. I imagine we're going to get season 4.
Oh God, it's the one that was done by I really like it. Manga.
Like, if it's possible to talk about like longer running shows, like I didn't like the ending to Naruto, but I know a lot of people did.
I like the ending to Naruto.
I agree. I like the ending.
Oh, that's fair. I didn't like.
Like, I will admit, it did kind of come out of
So
nowhere.
tell you
It did, Calgia did kind of come out of nowhere.
Million people.
But
Yes, yeah.
I think, in all fairness, I remember in an interview where I think Masashi Kishimoto said the hardest thing he could figure out to do was kill Madara.
Yes.
So I felt like
It had to be
I'm
an
gonna
aspect.
I'm gonna bring out an enemy that I do know can be killed. So
Yes.
I think you can
That's
give
going
him
on the
some
list.
leeway with
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. It reminds me of a show we're going to talk about later, actually, where it kind of
Also-
felt like it just came out of nowhere almost.
Also, you have to admit this. It did give us a reverse harem jutsu.
It did, which
and that is amazing.
I'll tell you the name of the manga. I finally got it. Silver Spoon.
Oh, that one. That was the one. That was Full Metal Alchemist one, right?
Yeah, it's Hiro Murakawa's
Yeah.
manga she did afterwards, and she has finished the manga. You can read the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, but I kind of feel like if you just gave it 2 more seasons, you could probably finish off the story.
One that gets criticised a lot, I don't know if anyone would consider it a bad ending, is Original Trigun, right?
Yeah, but that's because the manga wasn't done, so they had to sort
Yeah.
of cobble together an ending.
It's
You mean Dragon Ball?
No, Trigun.
Oh, Trigun.
Yeah, sorry.
Trigun.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yes.
I thought you said Original Dragon.
I know some people who have said, and I completely disagree on this. They don't like the ending of Cowboy Bebop.
Oh no, but Cowboy Bebop is one of the best endings.
I agree
Is that
completely.
because it's bittersweet and they don't?
Yeah, they don't like bittersweet
Well, it's
endings.
not even bittersweet. It's sad.
It's
Yeah.
it's Cowboy.
It's the perfect ending. Of
Yeah, but again, Cowboy Bebop was
Tragic.
always going to have a tragic, sad ending. There
Yeah.
was never a good outcome by the
Yeah,
end of it.
which is funny because those people saying that would not survive in the Gundam community
Oh,
because every anime is bittersweet at the end.
Yeah.
No, I would say
The majority are.
the majority are. I like Witch from Mercury. That ends pretty sweet.
Well, apart from all the dead.
Well, yeah, apart from that. But the one where it's really bittersweet has to be Iron Blooded Orphans. Like that is a tough ending to get through.
Oh yeah.
My biggest issue with Witch of Mercury is that I felt like the second season was just rushed.
Yeah.
It felt like it should have been a 52 episode season.
Yeah, which is what everyone else was saying because that's what Gundam usually is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like, oh, we're going straight to the end. So yeah, I suppose Witch from Mercury was a little rushed, but I wouldn't put it in the bad endings.
No, it was just rushed.
As much as an issue with the season as a whole, though.
Yeah.
I was going to say like a parallel to like a video game ending that is tragic but is still universally well regarded as Halo Reach. Like the whole cast dies. Like you really.
I mean,
invested.
you know that's gonna happen.
I'm going to write down
Yeah.
Halo Reach as one of the spoilers
Hey,
now.
what,
Anyway, I think
Anyone-
I think actually get into the.
Yeah, let's get into
Sorry,
the
yeah.
examples.
We've been going here for like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Reese, I want your main example of what you think is a bad ending.
Well, talking about the one I chose was Darling in the Franxx.
Darling in the Franxx.
was going to be one of mine.
Yeah, what-
But as soon as we brought up the topic, I instantly went dibs.
Yeah, valid. Yeah.
So, Darling in the Franxx, a lot wrong with that ending. None of us really liked it at the time, which is
No.
weird considering that we nominated it for Enemy of the Year in that respective year.
Yeah, which was 2018.
Yeah.
I think
it was our second year.
I don't think we grasped at the time how bad that ending is,
Yeah,
I think we were so focused on the first 15 episodes.
yeah.
Yes.
and how that's the thing. Darling in the Franxx, if they had fixed that ending, it would have been an amazing show.
Well, I wouldn't say amazing.
Not amazing. Amazing first half.
I think
okay second.
Yeah.
I think if they kept up the momentum with the second half, I think I would have said I would have liked it more than Evangelion.
Yeah,
You don't like
that's
Evangelion
fair.
that much.
But again, I like the movies now, so I
Yeah.
can say as a part of Evangelion, I do like the movies.
Yeah, but also after we got the anime, more information came to light. Most of the cast is age 14.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they're off having babies.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
one pair have babies.
No, in the 2 year time skip when they're 16, most of them have babies.
That made me remember
Oh, right.
a show
Yeah.
that I hate the ending of. But sorry, yeah, I guess it's this whole thing about Japan's declining birth rate. Maybe they were like sort of
Yeah.
focused
They
on
are,
that.
they're going. That's one of the reasons I liked the beginning of Romance Killer, where they just basically admit,
Yeah.
this is a pastiche of all those shows that are going about Japan.
I guess they thought it was okay because in Japan, I don't know if it's still the case, but I think the age of consent is 13.
It's not.
no,
it's
it's
not
not.
anymore.
It was.
It was at the time in in a couple of regions of Japan. Only a couple
Yeah,
of
it was
regions.
2.
2 regions of Japan. Those regions now have to up it to 16 because
Yeah.
they've now created a new national law that said it was 6. It didn't really change much of anything. It just said those 2 regions had to up
Yeah.
their age
Yeah.
to 16.
But of course, you had all the weirdos online saying, "Oh no, all of Japan is only 13."
Yeah, but they don't, which they haven't really looked into it because if you go to Japan, most parts of it are 16.
Or even 18.
I mostly
even
know
18,
that,
yeah, a couple
I
of
mostly
regions
know
are
that
18.
because 10 years ago, Tomska made like a sort of sex ed video, I think, and he more brought it up as an "Oh Japan" moment,
Yeah.
Which-
rather than like as actual knowledge.
Yeah, but again, even the Nostalgia Critic, he kind of parroted that one at the time, as Sailor Moon one, and it was also. And again, while he did get correctly that it's a couple of regions, he implied that it was much more Japan than it really was.
I was going to say, it raises a question. How old are the characters in Heavenly Delusion? Oh, no, but, Heavenly Delusion.
Oh God, I don't
Because
think.
that's a similar thing, isn't
See,
it?
the thing is, I don't like to look. I don't like to look that up when I go on.
No,
on
I know
a
what
fan,
you mean.
on a fan wiki because it will often give away plot
yes,
spoilers.
Yeah.
Which is so I can honestly.
Isn't it annoying when you look up a character and it's, at the top it says deceased? Well, fucking thanks, Wiki.
Oh no,
Appreciate
no,
it.
right.
Oh,
He
God.
saw his journey on JoJo. Oh, who's this Dio character? Dead.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Jonathan.
oh
dead.
my god, the number of times
Headless. What?
the number of times I've been looking up like things on Wiki for characters from books
Yeah.
to see what they look like, so I can imagine it better in my head. It's just like, oh, they died. Thanks,
This is them in their coffin.
thanks, fucking Wheel of Time.
Put it this way, I don't think. I think even if you use the argument of the fact that Darling in the Franxx is an allegory for puberty, which is something that I talked about in when I was doing my writing for Darling in the Franxx. Again, it was quite shortly. I think my chapter in my book on Darling in the Franxx is a lot more praising of it than I would have done if I'd done it now. Same with a bunch of other things, but at the time, because I think that's because at the time it hadn't really sunk in how bad that ending was, and I think even then, I probably would say even then it's a bit squicky, for lack of a better term, because even if you take the whole fact this show is meant to be an allegory for puberty,
Yeah.
because it's. But there's a lot more wrong with that ending than just the rather problematic elements.
Yeah. So the major twist in episode 20 or 24, aliens.
Yeah,
All
All along.
the main duo that have been sort of running this whole thing turn out to be aliens. Are actually against them.
And there's no foreshadowing.
Which,
No,
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 no flashing at all.
which, by the way, I want to point out, because I'm going to make a lot of comparisons in the show, Eureka 7 had the same plot twist at one point, but they built to that twist. It didn't just come out of nowhere. It was like 10 or 15 episodes in, and then it was actually used as a major plot point going forwards and tied into the main themes of the show.
And then even after that, it makes no sense. Like what? 02 becomes giant, and her and Hero start traversing the stars.
Yep.
Where the fuck? What the fuck was that?
Well, that was all ripped off from previous Trigger and Gainax
I was going to
shows.
say, it's basically the Rani ending to the show.
But again, I want to point out a couple of the. You showed was one show where you could do loads of shot for shots.
Yep. So that was Aim for the Top Gunbuster,
Can I point out?
which was Gainax in
I
1988.
mean, you know, first, a Trigger does often rip itself off. Like, what was the furry anime that came out a number of years ago?
B and A.
B&A, that's it.
Hey.
That ending is literally just prom air.
Yeah.
In fact, that entire show, I'm pretty sure, was just prom air, but expanded and more furry.
Can I also say though, Eureka 7, I've always pointed out that you could do shot for shots of that one, particularly the one of the shots towards the end of them spinning round. That is directly from Eureka 7, and in fact, and that was not a Trigger anime. That's done
I
by.
was going to say, who made...
That was, I believe it was Bones that did.
I think it's Bones in collaboration with Sunrise.
So, I
Yeah, the Sunrise do have a stake in
Yeah.
Eureka 7.
I wonder if with the ending of Darling in the Franxx, they just wanted it to be a massive homage to like a bunch of different shows, but ended up...
There's a difference between an homage
Yeah, great.
and just plain ripping it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As James Summerton is learning right now.
Yeah.
Hello!
But also,
That joke is dead. That video came out like a year ago now.
I know, that's why I bought 1 year anniversary.
yeah, but it wasn't also just the ending. They ripped off a lot of stuff throughout the whole show from previous Trigger and Gainax.
Yeah, you mentioned, I think, it ripped off a lot from Gunbusters, was it?
Gunbusters.
So that was a clip I shared last night.
Yeah.
It took the entire ending from Gunbuster.
Wow.
Yeah, the ending is basically a combination of Gunbusters ending and Eureka 7's ending.
And also Gurren Laggan.
And Gurren Laggan and a bit of Evangelion. They just mashed them all together.
Yeah.
Which none of and the thing is, despite the fact those shows are quite similar in many ways, tonally, they're actually very different.
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
sounds like they were so focused on doing the puberty allegory that they couldn't really think of a story, so they just took
Yeah.
it from a lot
Oh,
of
and
places.
for the record, I just looked it up. It is Bones in conglomeration with Sunrise.
Yeah.
But it's also, but the I probably should have known that because it's my favourite anime. So, but I mean, I've already said the aliens thing, so I now have to put Eureka 7 on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, as I point out, that was a twist that comes early on. It's not right at the end.
Yeah.
In fact, every twist. That's the thing about if you want to talk about how you present a twist. Eureka 7 has about 3 or 4 twists throughout the show. I mean, 5 if you count a couple of mini ones. But each one is built up and builds on the previous one.
Yeah,
It isn't-
I think in that case, another one that probably has a really good twist is Astro Lost in Space.
Yes, prime example. Astro
But
Lost in Space. is a
my
pro-
main issue with that show was just there was too many.
Yeah.
Like they were not spread out that much. We got like 2 per episode in the second half.
It is weird because I now would say Astro Lost in Space is in my 20 favourite anime of all time.
Bloody
list.
hell.
I'm gonna stand by that one. I can't lie about it. I really love that.
I enjoyed it, but not to that extent.
Yeah.
So Hokkaido Girls is super cute.
I just said I liked the show. I didn't say it was a really good show.
You read the manga.
Cal, you've got a back tattoo to compare against Ren's.
You've gone not just a back tattoo. He's gone full Yakuza.
Yeah.
Okay, Reese.
Right. So, and also, the whole thing with Darling in the Franxx, it really only blew up, not because of its story, but because of its character design.
Yeah, like you have to admit, S-tier character design.
Yeah, S-tier character design.
Like
but
the character designs are so good.
I think it also blew up because it was a combination. It was the advertising of A1 Pictures and Studio Trigger coming together to make this anime.
I would say S-tier character design on one character, which made up for the
0
character
2.
design and all.
Yeah.
all
No,
the
I
rest of the
disagree.
show.
I think all the characters are pretty well
It's-
designed.
No, I think they did a fantastic. If there's one thing you say about Trigger, they never fail at character
I
design.
was just going to say it's pretty much just the same uniform and different hairstyle and facial features. isn't it?
No, I would
And
say
heights.
I did say they did do a good job creating different heights, body shapes.
Yeah, but that's not.
Yeah.
Pretty good mechs as well. I thought the mechs were pretty good.
And yeah, and they,
Yeah, the mechs were great.
Yeah, so the thing with Darling in the Franxx, it only won 3 awards after coming out.
What did it win?
Best mech design from New Type magazine,
Nice.
which is the Gundam magazine, versus 1985.
Yeah, lovely.
The 3rd Crunchyroll Award for
Really?
character
Oh,
design.
character design, sure.
Yeah, and then the Funimation Award for Girl of the Decade was 0
Well,
2.
that's what I mean. I think,
So all 3 awards are the visuals,
Yeah, and
not the
nothing to do with the
writing,
content
not
of
the
the show.
storytelling.
and also 02 does not deserve that one. Like, and she's a good character for the first half of the show, but
Name a more apart from Bocce the Rock, a more iconic female lead.
you just said Bocce.
Apart from Bocce.
Violet.
Evergarden.
Say again?
Violet.
Evergarden.
But I would say 02 comes up more in conversation.
Yeah, only with horny people, Ren.
Well, no, but
That's
who uses the internet?
That's anime fans.
Yeah,
That's
also
just
so
anime
horny.
fans. We're always horny.
Yeah.
Also, the horny 02 fans just moved on to Pyra as soon as they discovered her.
Yeah.
True.
Didn't Pyro come up before?
That's what I found surprising. It seemed like everyone went horny for 02, and then as soon as they got 02, they went back to being horny
I'd
for
say maybe
Pyra.
it's-
Probably because of Smash Bros.
Maybe a top 3 would be 02 Bocce. Anyway, we're getting distracted.
We're getting very distracted here. So,
And also, it's pretty unpopular it was. It had a manga adaptation, right?
oh yes, I was about to bring that
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, in its entire lifetime sales, 400,000 volumes
Wow.
Can I-
total.
can I say-
And when for that year, 2018, One Piece in comparison sold 8.1 million copies in that year alone.
In all fairness, it's One Piece.
Can I
Yeah.
actually
One
say
Piece,
something?
up until Demon Slayer came out, that won every year with manga sales in Shonen Jump.
Can I say something actually that I can bring to the conversation? I've read the Darling in the Franxx manga.
All of it.
All of it. The ending's actually worse.
Oh no!
How?
The end.
What happened?
Nothing.
Really?
Nothing. It just ends.
Yeah,
Just stops.
It just stops.
yeah.
Like, were they aiming for more? Or
I think they were, but they just gave up. So it's
Yeah,
just-
they just cancelled it.
Part just ended up being so unpopular. It was like, yeah, fuck it,
It's
never
like,
mind.
no one's going to read this. No one will care
just
if we don't
dumb.
end
it just ends up as Hero and 02 get together and the war's still going on. They don't even get to the aliens.
Yeah.
They literally do a Starship Troopers.
Wow.
They literally do a Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
But again, with Starship Troopers, that's a prime example of how someone adapting that did a better job than the original source material because they actually did. The movie is way better than the book.
Oh,
That's
massively,
good.
yeah.
That's because the movie tries. That's because the book is kind of a commentary. The movie tries to have more fun.
No, it's the other way around. The book's more fun. The movie's the commentary.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's by Paul Vanderhoosen. What's his name?
Highline, because he also did Stranger from a Strange Land,
Yeah.
and he based his book is the book is actually quite pro-fascist, whereas the movie is
Anti-fascist.
Anti-fascist, the commentary on fascism, because it was directed by the guy who directed RoboCop, and he actually,
which is the guy I was talking about.
yeah, and he
Vanderhoosen.
he directed it, and he actually, I believe, he escaped Nazi Germany, so he was very familiar with like how fascist tactics work, and he actually puts that in the text. So that's a prime example of how you do a very good adaptation. I proper like Starship Troopers. It's a fantastic movie.
Although it's got like 4 follow-up films, 2 animated. Ignore them.
Really ignore them.
Yeah, all of them are shit.
Yeah.
They're all shit. And the first one's the only good one.
Yeah.
But it's also
Even though, funnily enough, the third film is the only Starship Troopers movie to have power armor, which is very heavily a thing in a book.
No, it came back in the animated films. So afterwards.
Okay, the first one then.
Okay, actually, to bring up Heinlein, who it does actually relate back to our original point. Heinlein also wrote the book Stranger from a Strange Land.
Yeah.
And that book is actually, I think, has a lot of parallels with how the trajectory of Darling in the Franxx went. It starts out with these quite profound questions about the nature of humanity and what we're doing in a very different time to our own. But then it devolves into a sex cult by the end.
Nice.
Yeah, which when compared to Darling, it started off being anti-oil because that's the whole thing about magma energy.
Yeah.
It was an allegory for fossil fuels and oil.
And then it becomes a puberty thing, and it's like, well, what
it becomes an alien thing?
Because the whole thing of magma energy, it's made from the compressed bodies of the dead Plastosaurus. Near the Earth's core.
I feel like
dinosaurs.
America's three obsessions: oil, puberty, aliens.
Yeah.
Can I point out something? Do you think Darling in the Franxx ending could be fixed if they did a rewrite of the whole series?
If they did a rewrite and left it out, yeah.
Yeah.
Just go in completely opposite direction.
They'll have to, yeah.
So instead of aliens, make a Papa and the Vice President just regular humans who are evil and shadowy.
How do you feel about the whole Hero and Zero 2 reincarnating and part of the ending?
Well, that's already been written up over anime, so
Yeah.
they took it from. I thought personally it was fine. It's not set up. Like there's no other characters in the show that can reincarnate.
Put it this way: the ending of Eureka 7 was a lot more hopeful than the ending of Darling in the Franxx. And again, I hate to bring it up again, but I keep coming back to Darling in the Franxx is that ending done wrong.
Yeah.
And again, you've pointed out all the other things it ripped off. And again, I found it amazing Evangelion came up so much, considering it. Until people pointed out, I really never noticed the comparisons with Evangelion.
Really? Yeah, Callie, shot for shot.
Hey, mate, I haven't seen Evangelion. I still agree with the comparison.
Put it this way, I spotted it when people pointed it out. When I first started, I was spotting with other mech anime. I was not spotting the Evangelion one.
Well,
also, Hero is a way more. Hero initially was a way more interesting character than Shinji was.
Yeah, I mean Shinji's flawed, isn't he? Like,
but Shinji. But
Shinji,
flawed characters can work. The problem with Shinji is he has too many flaws.
Yeah. Because that's why in the mecha community, it's still a meme now. Shinji getting the fucking robot. Yeah. We're everyone doing gifts of hammers and punching people's faces.
We still haven't gotten over Shinji getting the damn robot.
Yeah.
Never will.
Do we have anything else to add before we get?
The whole Twisted South just came out of nowhere. There was no setup. It was built to like 90 episodes. It was humanity versus the Klaxosaurs. There's Klaxosaur Queen.
By the way, do we think we talked enough about the nature of Evangelion that we need to put it in the spoilers section, or have we not talked about enough specifics?
No, we won't talk about specifics.
At this point, we won't add it.
I don't think we need to add.
But the whole thing we do see, there's character themes also, specific characters ripped from Evangelion straight to Darling. To avoid spoilers, look closer at the Franxx and come to the Evas.
Now I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. Okay, so shall we move on to Elliot's one now?
Yeah, sure. So just in summary, it was a bad twist, came out of nowhere.
Agreed.
It's full of plot holes.
Agreed.
Bad pacing.
Not so sure, but I will.
Cal, they crammed this whole final arc in 4 episodes.
Out of 24
episodes.
I thought you meant for the whole show.
No, just this twist.
Yes, the ending and the twist. Yeah,
and it kind of ends with nothing really being resolved.
Yeah, like they don't even beat the villains in the end.
Because both leaders live. So they're going to come back, but not anymore.
Yeah, but no one wants a sequel, so they're not coming back.
Sorry, just last thing. Isn't it funny just how iconic the show is? Because we all remember it quite vividly, but just how bad it is.
I think it's the imagery and the music.
Yeah, it is. Just the vibes were great.
And it's a bit like how everyone kind of remembers Suicide Squad, but that's more because people turned it into a fashion statement rather than people actually remember that movie. Like,
amazing music, amazing animation, great character design, terrible story.
Yeah.
Put it this way, I'm the only one of our group that went to see the Suicide Squad disliked the movie.
I don't remember, I wasn't...
I haven't seen either.
The second one's alright.
Yeah, but I've heard the second one.
Yeah, I heard the first one's terrible.
Yeah, the first one's utterly terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Moving on.
My turn!
What have you picked, Elliot?
Okay, I picked my one for a bit of a different reason. The reason why I picked my one is because the last episode was incredibly rushed. Like, it felt like there was a lot that had to be built up throughout this season. And while the second half of the season was rushed, it was still alright to the point where I could enjoy it. It was a final episode that just absolutely pissed me off. So, I'm going to talk about Cardfight Vangard GZ.
Yeah, you were right in saying it's the only one that you've watched.
Yeah, that's the one I watched.
Right, Elliot, go.
Alright, so
Since we can't talk about it.
Okay, so this is one of the reasons why this one really pissed me off is because this was essentially not only the conclusion to Cardfight Vangard G, which was a sequel series, but also the entire conclusion to the original Cardfight Vanguard, because that takes place in the same universe.
Yeah,
Sorry, is it called GX?
Z.
Z. Cardfight Vanguard Z.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In comparison to Yu-Gi-Oh! GX,
Yes.
they're two completely separate properties that are both card games.
So I'm going to rant a little bit about the season first.
Yeah.
So this final season was built up by the previous season, which was the third season. Yeah, I like to know this is the 8th season overall of Vanguard.
Holy
It was
crap.
it was built up from the 7th season with these ideas that aliens from the planet Krei were coming down and possessing card fighters. I like to know all this is built up from the very beginning.
Yeah.
The planet Krei in which the card game Vanguard takes place on is actually a real place. And it's connected to Earth. You see that all the time in the original series,
Which I also saw, so I can verify.
Yeah, and it's all so possessing these card fighters, and they're all really powerful. Like they're really strong. They're really difficult to defeat. It takes an entire 52 episode season to defeat one group of them, to defeat one 3-member team of them. And now we learn that there's even more coming down. They have a group, a team of 6, and they all have this really powerful card called Zeroth Dragon cards, which, are super powerful and are able to decimate the teams very quickly.
Are they busted in the real life game as well?
They were.
Okay, cool.
And all this were working for this big Zeroth Dragon, who is easily was one of the rarest and most powerful cards in the game at the time. His literal ability was at the start of your turn deal 5 damage to the opponent.
How many life points do you start with?
And if you take 6 damage, you lose.
Oh fuck, okay. Sure.
Yeah. So incredibly busted, way too powerful. So you think it would take it's gonna be a really big season. It's gonna take a lot. Average Vanguard season is 52 episodes. That's almost 24.
Right. Okay.
So
same issue that we had with a bunch of the other shows.
Except again, it wasn't it was to the point where the main character in total had 3 matches and he lost 2 of them. But at the same time, I was fine with that. It wasn't terrible. I noticed it was a big rush, but you know what? They're still fighting. I'm still seeing these new cards. It's fine. I don't mind. The reason why the ending pissed me off so much, the entire final fight with this big boss was done in the second half in a fucking montage.
No way. They didn't even show the actual thing.
So it wasn't actually just the main character Chrono who was fighting them. He was fighting this big bad. It was all 3 of the main characters in their team Tri 3, who were fighting this big bad in separate pocket dimensions almost, and they completely rushed through it. All the while they're still like showing what's happening back on Earth with like these Vanguard zombies. Basically, zombies, but instead of biting you, they'll play Vanguard with you. And if you,
That's a
it makes
tournament joke.
it makes sense in the anime.
Yeah.
Those bastards.
They play Vanguard with you. You lose, you become one of them. It's something that's happened in multiple seasons.
Yeah, I was
like
about to
since
say,
season
I was
season
like,
3. Like since season 3 of the original.
It
Which by
reminds
the
me of the type of commander player I encounter.
Yeah.
It's
So-
not like the light
Yeah.
thing they did
so,
in Yu-Gi-Oh!
so,
GX.
like,
Oh,
we don't see any of those fights. We just see like clips of the final fight against the final boss in again Chrono in the just see a montage of it. Chrono gets a new card that we never see that we'd seen him get in a previous episode, but this is the only time we'd ever seen him, so we don't get an idea of how powerful he is, because usually we have a few fights with him using that card before the final boss. This is the first time, it's only shown in the montage, again, and there's...
We don't even see its full effect.
Oh
Yeah,
god,
we
I
don't
forgot
even-
about that line.
Yep. Ah, yeah, that one.
Yep.
Yeah, so... And then
Very good.
another thing that really annoyed me, every Vanguard episode, we get like a conclusion. Every season of Vanguard, we get a conclusion episode where everything wraps up, the characters celebrate, we see some fights, all that. We get none of that. It ends with the fight, once the fight ends, we get the three main characters in space saying what their dreams are, like, oh, I want to travel, I want to run my business, I want to fuck a dragon, and then they fly to the Earth, and it ends there.
So
No conclusion. That's how the series ends.
So, like, the final villain of this place that's been established, this planet that's been established from, like, the whole original show.
From season 3 of G. So, like, the previous last season, we've had an entire season worth of build-up.
Like, and those are, like, 54, 52, 56 episode seasons.
52.
Fucking hell. And they're defeated in half an episode, pretty much, with a montage.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's fucking infuriating. And do you want to know, as I said, this entire season was rushed. Do you want to know why?
Go on.
Because they were rebooting the original, and they wanted to rush into the reboot. Which, by the way, that was shit as well. Because they only retell the stories of seasons 1 and 3 of the original, and in like a total of 50 episodes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of rushed as well.
I was just about to ask, was this a conclusion to this timeline? Or?
Yes. It's a conclusion to the entire original timeline.
So I very heavily empathise with you because this is exactly what happened with the end of the Bleach manga.
Yeah.
They just said, you have 5 chapters, end it all.
Yeah,
And then
this
it
is-
just went,
Yeah, this is like...
I'm not going to type in Bleach for that one.
This
because it's
is...
not quite, so it's fine.
This is 8 years worth of
That's
build-up.
crazy. That's insane.
Like, eight seasons
Imagine
and a
that's how My
movie.
Hero ended, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
sort of
actually-
length of time we're looking
Well, actually, it's rather worrying because one of the reasons I put this, I got the idea to do this podcast was because of the bad reception to not just My Hero, Oshinoko's ending,
Okay.
and
Attack on Titan.
and Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
Those all got a negative
reception.
reception for their endings. Although I out of those ones, I can say I've read My Hero Academia's ending. I was not as negative on it as other people.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to Vanguard,
Yeah.
it's like, is there any other source material you have now for that, or was that it? Is there like a manga that kind of fleshes it out?
There is a manga. As a matter of fact, I think the reboot was following the events of the manga.
Oh.
But yeah, the anime was pretty much entirely its own thing. Yes, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, its main purpose was to sell you cards, but at the very least, we had a good story with it.
So if you want to appreciate properly the ending, you have to read the manga.
Not really, because we don't even get the G timeline in the manga. It just, as I said, the manga just kind of does its own. The manga and anime are pretty separate. In fact, I think the anime came first.
It's funny because if you think about it, Yu-Gi-Oh is a comparison that gets a lot of things, but that has a really good ending for its first incarnation.
Yeah.
The one.
And then the sequel GX has a terrible one. I just realised Yu-Gi-Oh GX has a terrible.
Yeah,
one.
a lot of people brought up GX. But one problem with the Yu-Gi-Oh with the ending to Yu-Gi-Oh is that there's no sort of epilogue Until we get Dark Side Dimensions.
Yeah.
I was about to say, until we got Dark
There
Side.
was in the Japanese version, it just didn't come over to us in the West.
Okay.
They did actually in the credits show like Siegfried and Leon pitching a new product to Pegasus.
Card games on motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles.
And then also to follow up as well, there was a Japanese exclusive manga with Yu-Gi-Oh! R, where Pegasus had secret sons.
Nice.
Ah! Sick.
And also
Wow, he's straight.
yeah, straight
Yeah,
curious.
children. Yeah. For a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and instead of the god cards, we now have the wicked god cards.
Cool.
Oh, come on, he's pan, surely.
Are they defying gravity? Sorry.
Well,
Wait,
what one actually
please.
is, it's a floating orb.
No,
Beautiful,
please,
beautiful.
for the love of God, tell me they are tuned versions of the Egyptian gods.
No,
Wow.
no, it's a giant floating ball, which is the wicked avatar, which is supposed to be the winged dragon of Ra sphere mode. The wicked eraser, which is Slifer with legs and arms.
Okay.
And then for Obelisk, it's called the wicked dreadroot, which is Obelisk but green with bone armor.
They're making the Paradox version of Suicune, Raikou, and
Entei.
Entei.
I want to read that now. That sounds
Yeah.
so hilarious.
It's so bad, and the wicked gods are completely useless in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, but again,
Of course they are.
But again, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, for example.
Yeah.
That ending was they built up big time to the idea of a Jaden versus Yugi match.
Yeah.
And they don't show the conclusion to it.
Yeah, we don't. Not only do we not see the conclusion
Oh,
to
they
it,
blue ball you on it. That's so.
not only
good.
do they not see the conclusion to it, we didn't even get it in English.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the entire fourth season was Japanese only.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and also one thing off our ending, it wasn't even the Yugi from GX. Jaden time travels back in time to the end of Battle City to fight that Yugi who has the
it's not-
three go
it's-
cards.
Wow.
Yeah, it's,
That's so fucked up. How
Yeah.
did they do
I
that?
think Yu-Gi-Oh! Does that a lot, where like the final season of each series doesn't get an English dub.
Yeah, happy with GX, happy with 5Ds.
I think it happened with Zexal.
Oh,
I'm fairly certain it happened with Arc V.
yeah, well, most of our feed didn't get properly adapted.
Yeah.
Well, that speaks to a similar thing with Vanguard. Then is like they evidently like with Yu-Gi-Oh, they pull the funding really for the English because maybe they don't think it's going to.
But they didn't even. They pulled the funding for it all together. If Elliot's to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I mean. Yeah.
Vanguard does have an English dub, but it's not very good.
And now they've moved on because they've rebooted, so that ending's
Yeah.
never going to be satisfactory.
Yeah,
Wow.
I will say with we do have like a new series with the Overdress and the Divine series. Those are actually pretty good.
Yes.
Those are actually pretty standout.
But as far as the original time.
Yeah, the original
Wow.
the original just like has a horrible ending, and I don't see the Vanguard community talk about this
So,
at all.
Put it this way: there's a way to potentially repair my ending. I think it's unlikely, but there's a way to repair my one. Whereas Elliot's one, there's no way to repair.
There
that
is a way to repair it. Actually, show the final fight.
Maybe,
Don't-
maybe they were planning a film. Maybe.
They, as I said, I think they rushed it for the reboot.
Yeah.
But there's a lot.
Because it's also because like they were having a new Vanguard format coming out.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to release them both at the same
If only they
time.
do like
How
classic
popular is-
sets, I wonder if they might.
How
do
popular is Vanguard in Japan?
Oh, it's
that.
massive.
Probably massive. Yeah.
It's like, I guess to compare it, it's like over here. I think it's like Magic then Yu-Gi-Oh. Over there is Yu-Gi-Oh then Vanguard.
But surely, where does Pokemon fit in this? Because probably the Pokemon
Oh,
trading games.
Pokemon's top of both.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
Pokemon,
It's by a clear margin.
Yeah.
as well.
Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Vanguard.
yeah. I
No.
mean that's over here. Meanwhile,
No, it's been changed. It's One Piece.
alright.
It's also still Digimon.
Yeah,
One
but
Piece
yeah,
is higher
in
than
Vanguard, it's still, in Japan, Vanguard's pretty massive.
Yeah.
So would you say Vanguard's like second or third
I'd say
or fourth?
I don't know. I don't really know how, especially with all the other card games that have come out. I don't know
There
how.
as well somewhere.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that-
I think it's like 10th.
Yeah.
It's hanging on
As
there.
it should be, to be honest.
But yeah, it's like it is pretty big and it is massive in Japan.
Yeah.
It's one of the funny things about all these card game animes that there's like the governments of these nations have allowed a massive monopoly on this game sports industry.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
actually. It's why I like try to keep up with all the card game anime that come out. I really like them. Like you like I still even like that Build Divide show that came out.
I thought it was good.
That was legit decent, wasn't
But
it?
like the one thing I liked about Yu-Gi-Oh was they added dungeon dice monsters as a thing.
Well,
They try and make capsule monsters a thing as well.
Yeah,
The capture monsters failed miserably. Dungeon dice monsters actually had some mini success.
It did have a video game.
Yeah, and the Game Boy Advance.
I was absolutely gutted by the fact that they didn't release the Duel Masters anime over in the West. Sadly, I think it was
Yeah.
only.
I don't think
No,
that.
not the new one, but the original one was.
I remember they did like a. Didn't they release a reboot one, kind of like in the early 2000s over here?
Of Duel Masters.
Of Duel Masters.
No, I'm pretty sure it's just the original.
Because I remember seeing an ad. I had like an old SpongeBob VHS, and they were constantly advertising, and there was an advert for it
I
on
think
there.
that might have been the original.
Yeah, that's the original.
Not a reboot.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
Just because I've seen the first episode of the original,
The-
and and it did not look
Yeah.
at all like the one I saw.
There was a reboot this year or last year.
Yeah, but the original when it came to the West, the main character was voiced by Ty from Digimon,
Yes.
with Joshua Seth or Joshua Green,
Yeah.
and he does not change his voice at all.
Well,
It's
That's-
literally just his Thai voice.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, no,
easy
but he
paycheck.
does,
Yeah.
Joshua Seth does that in pretty much all his roles. He just does
Yeah.
his Thai voice.
Yeah.
That's why it's a great moment. There was one. There was one.
Piccolo voice.
There was one I actually noticed. There was a guy by his meet and greet thing that had assigned subs over dubs, and he was like, "Really?" It's a great video if you can find it on Twitter.
I don't know what else I could say about Vanguard that I haven't already said.
Do you think that stung? Because a very similar ending. Do you think it stung more or less than Promised Neverland?
I never saw the end of Promised Neverland.
Yeah, you were.
It was bad.
I dropped off that like after I can't remember what his name is, the one with the white hair. But when he came back, and they were just like, it felt like it should have been a really big deal, but instead it just seemed like that he just popped out to the shops for a minute.
Because I, like you probably, Cal, thought that you were going to say Promised Neverland because you're big into the manga, right? And then
I was really into the anime, the first season, and the manga. Yeah, the manga's great.
yeah, and then the second season just condensed and was poor.
Yeah, the second that's the thing. The second season was just entirely
To such
shit.
extent, the ending is pretty much a montage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't.
Wow,
Yeah,
my God.
it turns to a PowerPoint.
Yeah, the
slides.
I mean, yeah, the second season of Promised Neverland was shit overall. Meanwhile, with Vanguard, there was some hope for it.
Can I point out though, with Promised Neverland, there was definitely some outside interference with that one because the director and I believe a couple of other higher ups took their name off the credits towards the end of the
So
show.
I misremembered. I did actually watch the ending because the fact that you said it was a PowerPoint, I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember
God.
you like saying around episode 10, I was like, did the manga end it like that?
Yeah.
There's no animation. It was slide, finished.
It's not the manga.
It's the blue lock of this season before blue lock.
Oh, yeah.
Is that how did Blue Lock do something similar?
No, but right now it's got no animation. Blue Lock.
Really?
It's
Yeah,
pretty much
it's bad.
it's pretty much
Because the
I-
last season
yeah.
has it done a One Punch Man?
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
I'm
That's sad.
I'm still having fun with it because I
Yeah,
like the
same.
story, but
Yeah,
yeah,
same,
the animation's
same.
not great.
So
Yeah.
the
It's
word-
not like Uzumaki.
Yeah.
The word you used, Cal, was stung. I liked a lot because it stung me, and this isn't my pick, but when Bleach didn't get its continuation anime immediately, and it ended, because the manga had been adapted and it was great, and then of course the ending was shit.
Yeah.
But now it's got its adaptation, but like the ending now, I was like,
Yeah.
why are you not adapting this? The best fucking arc.
Yeah, that was what I had to avoid a lot,
Oh.
where I didn't like it, but then it got fixed with another season or
Yes,
a sequel
yeah,
or a
yeah,
movie.
Yeah.
So, for example, I know a lot of people don't really like the ending to Beyond the Boundary, but
Yeah.
but
That's a good show.
that's a really good show,
Mm-hmm.
and the movie actually improves on the ending.
Mm.
Yeah.
I disagree, but I know a lot of people said they preferred the ending after the movie came out.
Fair enough.
I'll just move on to Renzao. In conclusion, incredibly disappointed ending after 3 years of build up for a reboot that wasn't even very good. For fuck's sake, Chrono deserved better. He's like one of the best Vanguard characters.
Ren, your controversial choice.
So, Cal doesn't like this one, as you've probably heard. My pick is Mob Psycho 100 Season 3.
Yeah,
Which is
Thank
the-
you.
yeah,
Thank you.
I'll give you that one.
Thank you.
What am I?
You are on your own with this
Am
one.
I happy?
Cal, if you go back to our video, all of us were saying it's a step down.
Yeah.
I like that ending. It's what the ending they were building up to.
It's
the
not.
ending.
It's
the ending.
not.
No, I want Mob fighting, and it's almost felt like one couldn't think of an antagonist, a big enough antagonist for the final season, so
Yeah.
it just went, fucking Mob's the antagonist now.
Yeah.
Mob's
I
fucking
like-
shit up.
I liked that.
Well, see, that's not a bad idea in theory, but I think in execution it's
Yeah.
shit.
I
It's
mean,
terrible.
I mean, the main issue with me was how he ended up going berserk.
Yeah.
Because why did he go berserk? He got hit by a truck.
He got nearly.
He just got hit by a truck.
There's no narrative.
He got isekai'd.
There's no satisfaction in that. If it was like a villain had knocked him out and then he lost control.
No, something
or he'd been rejected and then.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought would have been bad.
Yeah.
He got rejected by the girl he liked, and it was so much emotional turmoil.
Yeah.
Because part of Mob's character, it's emotion.
Yes.
His powers directly come from his emotions.
See, I wouldn't have liked the idea of him being rejected because I think not.
Well, he was rejected.
No, ultimately he was, but he was fine with that, which I liked. But I didn't think that it should have ended in that way.
Also, by the way, on that one, they said rejected because they still talk to each other, and it was actually hinting that
romantically rejected.
Yeah. Mob was friend zoned.
Yeah, but there wasn't. But even then, they were hinting at the end that there was a possibility. That's the one part of the ending I didn't like. In fact, they were still then hinting at a possibility in the future. Like, no, stick with it now.
Yeah.
There's actually a decent ending. That stick with it. I also didn't think it made sense for her to reject him because it was building up to the fact that she liked him, and then it seemed weird that he gets rejected.
But no. So I don't think it's fine that he's rejected and it's like
but it kind of contradicts her character though. That's the thing. Point I made.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's sometimes you can just have that flicker and it's okay, and it doesn't materialise into a relationship. That's fine. And yes, it's a little bit disappointing, but it's not a negative thing.
Yeah, just look what happened between you two.
Exactly. Yeah, you've rejected me, Cal, and I'm still trying.
No.
my best.
See, we found out to move out.
Yeah.
If you would like a job on Anime Amigos, there's going to be 3 open slots in a minute.
I haven't said shit.
You're about to.
No, I wasn't.
So
You don't know that.
So that was the fucking car accident was the precipitating factor for Mob going berserk. And then everyone having to unite and bring him down, including
Hang on,
They didn't even unite. It was just like separate characters going in for no reason.
Including the villain from the end of season 2, who was like...
Who was in jail?
Yeah,
that guy. Yeah,
him
I
and his
remember now.
sons show back up, and
Hang on.
immensely powerful.
Hang on, I
psychic
like this
characters.
show. I like this ending. Why am I agreeing with you on half the
Because
shit?
it's dumb. I agree that I don't think he knew what he wanted to do with the endings. It's like, and then just.
Random bullshit, go.
Or it was.
Remember, these characters, they're getting beaten up.
I think it's just the fact the moment with Reagan. I think the thing that does it for me is the fact the ending with Reagan is so good that it kind of made me forget.
Yeah,
some of
I like that.
Reagan admitting he did actually have psychic powers.
Yeah.
Best part.
Like,
that absolutely has to
I
go
know
that way.
I know a lot of people said that Mob kind of knew, but it was good for him to say it out loud.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think.
Yeah, I think Mob was ignorant from the entire way through.
But it does have a hint after the TV show appearance where he says, "I know who you are. You're my master." But that does have a hint that he knows.
I think there are so many parts about the show that I love. Mob Psycho overall is incredible.
Like Mob Psycho 100 is an incredible show.
Yeah, and most of season 3 actually is decent. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, oh my god, the final fight against Dimple.
Yeah,
Oh.
sick. It was peak.
That's why they should have ended it.
Yeah.
It should have ended with him trying to take over the world and Mob having to stop him.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was going to say, the part season 3 I didn't like was that random side characters getting abducted by aliens for an episode.
Oh no, I love that episode.
It was so random though.
It was random, but it was fun.
Yeah.
But it's
And it fits Mob Psycho.
Sorry, the one thing I'm getting in my head now is dan 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 dan.
So, it is totally out of nowhere.
And it's then brought up again. It's just one episode. Aliens.
To be fair though,
Yeah, but at the same time, I think that's kind of what makes it work.
It's
like
very
Mob Psycho is a show that's just randomness. Like when they were all during the bit where everyone was bowing to Thimble, what were they bowing to? A giant piece of broccoli.
Yeah.
can I point out though? I think
And it was amazing.
Yeah, but at least a piece of broccoli came back.
Can I
It
point
stayed
out-
around.
I think that Dan 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 holds out its randomness a lot better than Mob Psycho 100 does.
Well, yeah, I
Wait,
think
do you mean throughout entirety of Mob Psycho?
Yes.
I think with with Dan, the difference is a lot of the randomness is with the villains.
Yes.
Meanwhile, everything with a Mob Psycho is just the characters. I think.
Also, Mob Psycho 100 is one of the few shows where I actually did go back and rewatch the ending.
Did you?
Because I thought I really wanted to see that fight again. So I think the action must have done so.
Yeah. Like again, visually great. The show.
Okay,
You can
I
never
know I wasn't really on Twitter around the ending of Mob Psycho 100. I wasn't going through like anime Twitter or whatever.
That's a lie. You're always on Twitter.
Yeah, but for some reason I didn't check out. I often didn't check it out because I was worried it wasn't actually the end and the manga did something more and I was going to get spoilt on something. So I held off on that one for a while. Obviously, I then looked it up and said, no, this is the ending in the manga.
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so there won't be a season 4 of Mob Psycho 100. But to go to that point, I want to know: was it generally agreed that people didn't like the ending of Mob Psycho 100?
I honestly don't know.
No, I didn't check on other people's opinions.
No, I didn't.
So that would be something we might want to go away and look on that one because I think I remember at the time.
I remember that you did enjoy it.
I enjoyed it at the time, but I didn't look up what other people's opinions are. But I think I distinctly have a bit of a memory of it getting, at least on the YouTube critic sphere, they liked it.
Which is fair enough.
But whereas compared to my ending, everyone hated it.
Yeah, even the YouTube critic sphere, everyone that liked Darling and Franxx turned on it as soon as that twist came in.
Was it some of yours, Elliot?
I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of anime tube.
Yeah, no, it's actually funny because you look at I lived my
Actually, the only one I watch is Giguk.
which is funny because if you look at the back of my book where I have my favorite anime YouTubers, most of them are inactive or gone now.
Wow.
Or dead?
Or no, I don't think any of them are dead.
There's a guy called Anime Grandpa who thinks that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I don't know. He's in that.
Anyway,
I was going to say. I think.
I was going to get drawn back to you.
I was going to say. I think maybe. Okay, so maybe comparatively, the ending might actually be mid, but I think the show overall, because of its insane quality, comparatively, it's bad.
So
if that makes sense.
So funny. It's.
That's just
I get that. The show is so good that ending was a major blow. I get that.
Maybe that's what I'm doing. The whole show was so good, I kind of forgot that ending did have a few points that didn't quite work.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of the same reaction with, like, another one I'm surprised no one picked One Direct Priority.
Well, yeah, that's a good
one, but again, I said no to be continued endings that could be continued.
Oh, that was a to be continued. Didn't that get a movie?
It did get a movie, but the movie was a rehash of
was a recap.
Right.
They still have never followed up on the ending of the anime.
Right, okay, because I know that show was so good, but the ending completely ruined it.
Yeah, no, the ending is appalling, and they really have to fix it.
No point now.
Yeah, I think they just also the reaction with the end, and people were just like, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
No, put it this way: I feel like they could fix One Direct Priority if they didn't follow up that actually filled in a bunch of the gaps and did give it a strong conclusion. But if they, other than that, they'd have to do a hell of a job to fix it.
I heard it was a big studio issue or like a writer's disagreement.
It was a combination of things, but the point is, One Direct Priority is where it is a prime example of something I've been going on about, which because it's original anime, there's no source material. Therefore, it's not as if you can go to something to see what happens next. It's not like, let's say, for example, a show I've really been enjoying this year, Mission Yozakura Family. If that never gets a follow-up, because of some of the fuck-ups that have happened to that, or Disney Plus, or so. I mean, this was just a Disney Plus issue, but anyway, point. I can still go and read that on Shonen Jump. One Direct Priority people who actually want to know how that ends, they may never get that ending, and it's the whole thing of do not sequel bait unless the sequel is greenlit.
Big issue of what I have with Vanguard. I can't get that good final fight because it's anime only.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You that's an eternally unsatisfying. Unless they decide to do an original reboot or like an ending.
They're not going to. No. That original format is not there anymore.
Okay, can we actually, to Ren's point actually on this one, can we actually think of any others where the whole show is so good that you kind of forget the ending's a little bit ropey?
Trigun's a good example.
Yeah, I think Trigun, but no, that final fight is so good in Trigun.
I prefer
the fight's good.
I prefer the final fight in Stampede.
Oh, disagree completely.
Yeah, no, agree.
The final fight in Stampede is awesome.
Yeah.
No, I disagree completely. The final fight in the original the main series is much better.
You think the EOP with the original is better than Stampede? Everyone here disagrees with you.
No, Reese agrees with me.
You said when we did Trying to Stampede, you did kind of prefer the Stampede one a little bit more.
Yeah, I will say just a little bit more though, but both are still S tier.
I am so, and I'm showing my age already.
My childhood.
I'm 34 years. The thing is, though, Trigun I didn't get until I was in my 20s. I didn't watch that until I was in my 20s.
50 years ago.
My young adulthood.
Doesn't even work.
Those were the days. Back when the miners' strikes.
Back when TV was black and white.
I hate you
Back
all.
when me and Joe Biden were roommates.
Fuck's sake, I'm not even American.
You wish you were.
No, I do not. Do not turn me into the Richard Hammond of this group.
Cal, you say Z. You call it fall.
Because it turns. Because it turns up in loads of marketing things that I have to follow. So it ends up getting drilled into your skull. I prefer autumn. I will get into that one. I prefer autumn. But they got it right on the ZZ thing. They have got it right on that one.
How have they got it right?
They haven't got it right with Basil and Basil. That's just stupid.
Yes.
Cal, it's called Lord Z, not Lord Z. Arch Enemy of the Power Rangers, Lord Z.
Yeah.
There, but they actually spelled that one out.
I used to call Dragon Ball Z Dragon Ball Z because I never heard it said out loud.
Look,
Yeah, I don't. The reason I call it Vangard GZ rather than GZ. GZ sounds weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
can I point out my one? Can we go to my one? now?
Yeah.
Because my one could be fixed. In the future.
Can just conclude Mob Psycho, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was pretty much done with it. I think,
Okay.
it just came out of nowhere. It didn't really kind of culminate in anything. It's fine doing the rejection thing as a bit of a joke, but like after the random event that happened, just felt unsatisfying.
Again, though, Reagan's confession was pretty sick.
That was great.
Yeah.
As was the action sequences.
So
Yeah.
my one is Digimon 02.
So I've not seen.
So Digimon Adventure 02, because at this epilogue ending is still the ending. They haven't retconned it, despite the fact they were hinting they were going to retcon it during the Tri movies and.
Remind me who the protags and the Digimon like.
Well, Adventure
Is
02.
this one before Tamers?
Yes, but Tamers is its own separate continuity. So Adventure 02 is the one with Davis, Yoli, Cody,
Vmon, Gilmon.
TK,
No.
and Kari.
No.
You got the first one right?
Vmon and Gilmon.
No, Gilmore's from Tamers.
Is that right?
Guillemon's
Yeah.
from Tamers.
Oh
yeah.
yes, because Vmon's the okay.
Vmon.
Oh wait, no, the bunny,
Patamon.
not Patamon. No.
Patamon isn't it?
Terriermon.
No,
that's
Tamers.
Tamers.
Fuck off!
Come on, Ren. There's one more Tamers where you accidentally say it's from 02 again.
I really hope he gets it wrong. It's
Come
the
on,
Tamers
Ren.
one.
I'm gonna have to think. Go on.
Look, you guys need to understand. We're under 30. We don't remember the shit.
But the point I'm making is, so Adventure 02.
Armadillomon.
Correct.
Okay, that was one of them.
One.
Okay,
Come on, there's still more, Ren.
The cat.
Meowmon.
Ah,
No.
No.
I know what it's fucking.
This is
Go on. No, carry on.
This is more fun, actually.
Gasimon.
Okay,
Correct.
she returns.
You've got one
There's
left.
Two more.
Because I already gave away Patamon.
Oh, the bug. The little cat.
So. Well, technically.
Okay,
right.
so that's right.
Impmon.
No, that's
No.
Tamers again.
Tamers.
Okay, carry
Come on,
Even
Ren.
I know that. Even I knew that was
I'll
Tamers.
tell him right now. It's Hawkmon and Stingmon.
I was never
No.
going to get Hawk.
No,
Wormmon.
Wormmon, yeah, who
Oh,
becomes
Wormmon.
Stingmon.
Oh,
Even you got it wrong.
Yeah,
I was
I know.
never-
You're the one talking
Who
about
remembers
this.
Hawkmon? Whose
You know-
favourite Digimon
Oh,
is
yeah, to be
Hawkmon?
fair,
If you-
Hawkmon is one of the most forgettable
If
Digimon.
your favourite Digimon is Hawkmon, go outside.
I think Armadillomon at least had the Texan accent, which
Actually,
was funny.
if your favourite Digimon is Armadillomon, don't talk to me.
No, Cody's the
Please
least
talk.
interesting character in Digimon history.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for the fact, the only thing anyone remember about him is his dad's dead, and he's constantly haunted by it.
Yeah, his one fine trait is he likes doing kendo a lot.
Fair play.
Mind you, actually, what does Yoli have? I mean, Yoli has a couple of good moments.
Yeah, well, she's a Ditsy girl, and her big divine trait is she gets married to Ken at the end.
Oh yeah, which ties into my point. Incidentally, though, on the whole thing of Mimi didn't fill in that slot from the original. No, the point is, Adventure 02 wasn't a great follow-up, but it had its good moments.
Yeah.
Like, I really wish they'd actually concluded the Dark Spiral, what was it called, the Dark Ocean arc.
Yep.
They never got a conclusion to that. They tried to conclude it in a Tri movie,
Yep.
but that failed miserably. And the good thing that came out of the Tri movies is they actually answered the original Teacher Destiny. But anyway, the ending basically goes, there's an epilogue after they defeat Myotismon again. Like, even at that point, I was like, seriously, you're still not over Myotismon?
Yep.
I mean, Dragon Ball Z with Frieza, to be fair.
No, that's exactly the same. It's like, really? We're still not over
Yeah.
this?
Well, and the funny thing about that, Mayotismon has come back in other anime as well.
I know!
He came back in Ghost Game.
Wow.
This-
yeah.
Wow.
They're still not over Myotis
Yeah.
one. Like, he was a great villain for his
Yeah.
arc, but that
Yeah.
was he should have
They
died
have
in that
to-
arc. and
It's
stuck
like
with it.
Char in Gundam, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you're just constantly reusing. Not
Well,
We charge clones.
Yeah, Char clones. Sorry.
Whereas this one's just Mayotismon.
Yeah.
Just straight up Mayotismon.
So they just keep bringing him back.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing about the ending of Venturo 2.
Yep.
All the characters' endings are completely contradictory to everything they built up about them.
Really?
So, okay, so some of them make a bit of sense. Like, Davis gets to open his noodle cart.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. He actually did state that was what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I suppose Yoli and Ken getting married and Ken becoming a detective
Yeah.
kind of makes sense.
Well, except they don't mention about that with Ken's aspect for the entire show. That he wants to be a detective.
Right.
Ken's main thing was he wants to be the smartest person in the world, and he was good at football.
Right. Okay.
Which, by the way, none of them end up doing football. Like, Ty
Yeah.
doesn't do it. He's a Digimon diplomat, which
Yeah. So Ty's the ambassador to the digital world.
for the UN.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
He gets a business suit and a
I
haircut.
love that.
Which I suppose makes some sense because he was the leader pretty much all the time, but
Yeah, but then it came out he wasn't the leader of the original Digidestined. Because the Adventure Cast was the second generation.
Yeah.
So surely it should be someone from the first generation.
yeah, but it's spoilers for Try. I'm
Yeah.
going to write that in as well. Spoilers for Try. They're all dead now.
What?
No, not all of them.
Yeah, he dies at the end.
No. All the guys who was like the teacher to Mantai, wasn't he still alive?
I think he dies in the final portion.
Yeah. Look, there's 6 Try films. All Digimon fans forget something over all of them. No one needs 6 films.
Also, while we're on the subject of it, Try has a bad ending as well with Kokomon dying. Well,
Yeah.
it was Kokomon.
No, not Kokomon. Or Deanmon, which is like Makomon.
I know.
Yeah, but they had a new cast member and a new character. There was no reason to end it on such a downer.
No, and then there's the secondary ending plot of Dark Jedi.
Oh, sod off with Dark Jedi. That was so shit.
He was a dark version of Jedi from the original adventure.
Right.
Except we know nothing about him, and he fucks off to the digital world, saying, I will be back. He never came back.
Right. Okay.
Not even in that he came back. He didn't
No.
even come back in that.
He's not even mentioned.
Beautiful.
That's what I get for picking a show that only I've watched. I deserve this.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't watched either.
But,
I'm just along
but
for
to go
the
back to the...
You've at least seen Digimon.
True. Yeah.
Most I can say about it is I liked Ghost Game.
Yeah.
But, okay, so the other things they did... okay, so what did Cody do in the end?
Wasn't he like a lawyer or a businessman?
Oh, God, he was so boring I completely forgot what he did. Joe made sense. He was a doctor.
So, which was his goal from the first season. That would be the world's first digital world doctor.
But the ones that people were... There was a couple of people who were pissed off with the most were Matt and Sora.
Yeah.
Well,
Matt, because he didn't take up his band didn't go anywhere, and he became the first, he became an astronaut with the first person on Mars.
right.
Yep.
Which
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. Okay.
And they, out of nowhere, and Sora didn't do well at football, she became a clothes designer, and she didn't marry Ty.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so the whole thing we saw, she wants to be a fashion designer, and she wants to be a flower arranger,
Right.
and do soccer.
Woman moment.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so her ending was quite sexist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the end they ship her off with Matt instead.
Okay.
Wh-
So
Which
she marries
I don't
Matt.
think they ever actually confirmed that in the English language dub. Did they confirm it in Japanese?
Oh no, they confirm because they've got kids together.
Oh yes, they have. Yeah, Matt, which made no fucking sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
That bit-
because across the whole 2 seasons, there's only one scene of them together. It's them at Matt's gig where Ty's heartbroken, saying, "Oh, Sora likes Matt." Out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and then Ty goes, "Right, Sora, you go to Matt. This is what you both want,"
Well,
even though there's no build up.
Yeah.
There was no build up to this. Like again, they could have easily got back together later. But
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds.
but the other thing, also TK and Kari don't end up together, despite the fact that was built up for the entire fucking season.
bizarre.
Yep,
So what do you think were the decisions behind this?
I think
randomness.
Yeah.
I genuinely think it was a
Was it just a gotcha?
No, I think it was I don't think so because I think it was a combination of things, really. I think they've never really, there's no real interviews or anything about the ending where the creative team have spoken on it. So I actually looked for interviews before we did this. I couldn't find anything because I wanted to, but what was the reason behind these choices?
And have any other reviewers commented about?
Yeah, this gets commented a lot. Like, put it this way, this turns up on a lot of worse endings for 90s kids.
Right. Okay.
But the thing is, again, Digimon was a prime example of. This was never meant to be as big as it was. This was created to sell a toy and then give it 15 episodes to sell it, and it exploded from there, and it upped its own business. And while it never reached the heights of Pokemon,
it might still.
It's not going to. Let's be honest. Look how many copies Scarlet and Violet sold with that much bad press. It will never catch up to Pokemon.
What if Nintendo is destroyed?
You're going to be waiting a very long time for that to happen. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to have another Wii U anytime soon.
But yeah, the whole thing with Digimon started off as a boys' version of Tamagotchi.
Yes, yeah.
By Bandai.
And the thing is, the thing that bothers I think for so many is that we followed these characters for years and years at this point, and their endings made no solid sense. And the thing is, do you think it would have been better if they just ended it with the destruction of Myotismon and the saving, and the fact that the weird creepy guy who looks like Tommy Wiseau dies and creates a magical barrier around the digital world?
Yeah.
No, seriously, he looks like Tommy Wiseau.
What's his name? It's not.
He's one of the. He wanted to
be something or other.
He wanted to be one of the original Digidestin, and he's to such an and to such an extent he does a deal with Myotismon without realizing he gets possessed by him.
Right.
No, because he was behind the Dark Spores.
Okay.
If you remember.
And he actually creates Digimon himself. That's how he creates Mummymon and Arukenimon, yeah. Which is the funniest name for a Digimon ever.
That's an interesting point. So if you get away with the epilogue, if you don't have the epilogue, is it a better show?
It is a better show.
It's a better show.
Yes, much better, because it leaves it a bit more open to.
Yeah, because people's headcanons are still existing.
Yes.
Like people can imagine, TK and Carrie got together.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It goes in the original.
And it also does my problem. I don't like it when shows completely erase any possibility for headcanons.
Yeah.
Where and that's one of the things I really hate about Eureka 7. You can have Eureka 7's ending constantly being overwritten. Because I kind of was like, for the love of God, that's a great headcanon of how that ended. You kind of answered it, but there's a little bit of headcanon space. And then they're say, no, you can't have that, and we don't. And that ending you really like, that's going to go away. And the same with Digimon Adventure 2 has a nice ending, and then they erase it. And every time they have an opportunity to retcon it and say, actually, we're going to get rid of this ending, they don't do it.
Yeah, we're getting to that point now because the time jump is so big. It's like 20 years after the end of the anime that this epilogue takes place. It's basically what Dragon Ball Z did with its epilogue with the 10 years. So we filled it now with the Last Evolution film. We filled it with Try. O2 just got its own film called A New Beginning. And that's been very well received. So we're hoping now we're going to bridge the gap and either replace it or make it make sense.
So, right, so I'd say this is on hold right now because this will remain in place. I will take this one back if they do. If the new Adventure 2 movie series does erase that ending, because it never worked for me. It's never worked for any fans of the series. No one's happy with it, and I think it's rather telling that people, that despite how much of a downer in many ways it is, people way preferred the ending of Tamers because it just wasn't that.
Anything is better than that. Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, even Digimon Frontiers, which is not a very good show in many regards. I liked it at the time, but the longer time's gone on, I've not really gelled with it. At least that had a better ending that was more uplifting for the characters.
A question for Recent. Digimon Adventure reboot. Better or worse ending?
Worse.
Okay.
The whole show overall was worse.
Worse. Just everything about it is just like we don't get what made the original so good.
Well, what do you expect? Like 40 episodes of it were like filler.
They were just fan servicing, weren't
the
they?
thing that
because I just go on a tangent without bringing up the 2020 reboot. The end villain is an evil clone of Omnimon.
Right. Is it
and that's it. What?
Omnimon's fart.
Pretty much. He's got no personality except he's evil.
Right.
Can I point out, well, the best arc of the original Digimon series is the Myotismon arc, which is when they go back to the real world. Well, it starts in the digital world, but they go back to the real world partway through it.
Yeah.
And the reason why it works so well is the fact of we've been in the digital world for so long, we're like, oh crap, this is how much carnage they cause in their own world. What are they going to do to ours?
Yeah. And also the whole thing find out as well that there's a time differential between the real world and the digital world.
Okay.
So when they're in the real world, the digital world speeds along, which is how we got the Dark Master ending.
Right, okay.
But also up the stakes by going to the real world. Digimon can't reincarnate if they're killed in the real world.
Oh shit.
So in the digital world,
unless they're Meiotismon.
Isn't
because of course, but in the digital world they all get reformatted as Digi-Eggs.
Right.
At Primary Village.
Yeah.
Isn't that something that happened in the Digimon movie, while the Digimon ended up dying in the real world?
Yeah, Kokomon dies in the real world,
Yeah.
which is why that ending in the original Japanese version is so much more somber, because it is his goodbye. He's not going to be able to be reincarnated. He cannot be reborn because the data has nowhere to go.
Meanwhile, in the English dub of it, they just have All-Star playing over him.
It's just Wondergomon just dancing. When Will is going, he's tone deaf.
Yeah, just Digimon don't really die. The code just goes back to the Digiworld. Hey now, you're an All-Star.
Which doesn't work because they don't go back, because he can't go back to the digital world. The barrier is blocked.
It's in all fairness, English dub. They're probably trying to make it a bit nicer.
Yeah, but the original.
Like, come on, this is the same movie that has someone crying. Just goes, I'm the one who's upset. Get over it. Okay.
Yeah. So that scene with Davis.
Yeah.
With the Digimon the movie, it's a compilation of 3 Japanese films.
Right.
Yeah.
And the third film, which they take was Yo2 cast, they cut like nearly over an hour from.
Seriously?
Yeah.
They cut so much.
Over the course, it's like an hour overall.
Have they ever re-released them in English?
They just have recently, but they're American exclusive.
Right. And they did release.
Go your VPNs, folks.
And they did release a sequel to the Diaboromon movie,
Yeah.
where Diaboromon does come back.
Yeah.
Any good?
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
I need to rewatch some Digimon stuff.
So, but here's the thing. The thing is, though, I think. Do you think that ending is one of the big reasons why people kind of left Digimon behind, and went back to Pokemon?
I think that's a pretty fair assessment, because at least with Pokemon, it was Ash for 20 odd years continuing.
Yeah.
Where with Digimon, it was definitive, saying these are the characters you grew up with. You follow them for like over 100 episodes, take an adventure and O2 together. It's like one package. 100 episodes. Right, now they're old as fuck, they can't do anything, go bugger off.
Yeah, give them the...
And we're not, and the people are not that interested in the reboot, despite the fact the reboot they did come up with actually was quite clever.
Yeah.
I also wonder, but again, I kind of wonder, how much are they going to invest in Digimon? I'm glad that the Adventure 2 movie's done well. Do you think they're going to invest much more in Digimon now that that's happened? Because the reboot did not go down well either side of the...
I mean, Ghost Game did well.
Yeah, it did pretty well. The reboot flops. It's mostly carried now by the card game, which is still doing really well.
Digimon Survive did well as well.
Yeah.
Not really.
I think a lot of people
do very well.
I think a lot of people weren't a big fan of the fact that it was a visual novel.
Yeah.
Despite the fact it had those strategy RPG elements.
Yeah.
I put it this way. It's on. I mean, put it this way. They put it on PlayStation Plus this month, which means they think their sales. Which means they think their sales expectations on PlayStation have hit the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the only way they're going to get any more is if they put it on the subscription service. People download it, and then when it goes from the subscription service, people panic buy to keep it.
Didn't the Cyber Sleuth games do pretty well?
Cyber Sleuth did alright.
They were critically found well received, but they didn't sell a lot.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like you can say because something's received well does not mean it sells well.
I mean, I got them on my Switch if that's anything.
Because the whole thing with the latest Digimon World game, which is Next Order, which I've talked about a few times, that only recently, last week or something, a few weeks ago, broke 1 million copies sold.
Really?
Oh, right.
Even though it was a PS Vita game originally.
Yes, yeah.
And then came to PS4.
Can I say, I think, I'm going to say it right now, I think Digimon Survive is one of the best stories in the Digimon canon.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know, to such an extent, I'm so desperate for them to do an anime adaptation of it, especially seeing how good the anime cutscenes, the very few they had, but the very... Because it is basically like saying, let's do a proper horror story set in the Digimon continuity. Because if you think about it, if this actually happened to you, it would be fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I actually like about the original Digimon as well. It's the kids are aware this is a very dangerous situation. So I'm trapped in my video game. Oh well, it's a case of, oh shit, we're trapped. We might never get home.
Yeah.
Yeah, in other words, doing the opposite of current isekai protagonists.
Yeah, that's my point is, that's one thing I wish more isekai would be like. The only isekai I think that's even got close to trying to do that has been...
we have actually...
Shield Hero.
No, we have actually got that with an isekai this season. Not Loner Life in Another World. The guy's about to be transported to another isekai world and it just goes, wait a minute, being an isekai will be kind of a pain. No, I don't want this! And fun fact, that's the only good thing about the show, with the rest of shit, apparently.
I looked at the poster and went, nah, that's
I haven't seen it, but apparently the rest is very good. I've only seen like the first clip.
But the whole thing with Digimon 5, it is in my top 3 games as well, because it's the only game that captures the storytelling of the original anime so well.
Yeah, despite the fact it's very different characters because they're all in high school, whereas they range actually a bit with the... Because Joe's the oldest and he's 13 during the original, and TK's the youngest and he's like 8.
Yeah, which makes even less sense for his job at the end of O2 with the epilogue, where he becomes a writer. Where it's revealed that he was a narrator all along for seasons 1 and 2. But
really?
Yeah, and his job there is to do the memoir of everything that happened to him in the digital world.
Ed, do you want to cut to the clip of Vegeta saying, how do you remember about the parts that you weren't there for?
Yeah, and also the fact he was 8 in the original anime.
That reminds
so how many people can remember stuff from when they were 8?
It reminds me of a book series where one of the characters is revealed to be the narrator, and like it's weird because of that character's connections to the protagonist, and they're writing about sex scenes about the protagonist, and it's like,
just looking through the window with the camera, saving this for later.
You can tell that the author just didn't have a fucking clue about it.
The only time I've actually seen, I have seen a couple where that's done well, but they've always been like first person POVs.
Yeah, but no, it's a good twist because most people didn't clock the fact that TK's voice actor also was the narrator since the very first episode. So the seeds technically were there all along. People just didn't realise.
But wasn't it Ty who was initially the narrator of it? And
it was just for the opening episode.
Yeah, I remember Ty introducing all the characters, but I think that's about it.
That was just the first episode.
But it's interesting. I mean, that was kind of interesting in that sense of so what we've been witnessing in TK's books.
Yeah.
But again, there was a lot wrong towards the end of Adventure 02, like the world tourist arc. That was kind of cool, but then you could have like, wait, so there's all these Digimon destined that are all over the world, and we're only now just finding out about them, and they possibly had all these adventures in a digital world that we haven't seen, and where did they all come from?
Well, it's worse than that, Cal, because can you remember what the first 2 episodes of the ending were called with Malamusmon?
What was it again?
50 million points of light. Meaning there were 50 million other Digidestined around the globe.
So there's 15 million.
This whole time.
So being Digidestined isn't actually that special.
Nope.
That was the problem I had with it. That's another problem I had with the ending. Digidestins were no longer special.
Yeah.
They were just, it was because there were so many of them. And I was like, what? No, stop introducing so many Digidestined. The whole point of this was so hard for Jedi and his team to pull off that it damn near killed them.
It also brings up a bigger plot point as well from the radio dramas.
Yes, there's radio dramas.
Yeah, one of the big ones is none of them stopped 9/11. That canonically happens in Digimon, with the original cast going to New York to talk about it.
It's exactly the same as what's it? The fucking Eternals, isn't it?
No, it's a bit like the fact of when you discovered that Final Fantasy X-3 actually is a thing, but they did was it an audio drama or a thing, and spoiler alert, I'm going to put this in the thing. Tidus dies again.
Yeah.
Right.
He kicks a bomb that he thinks is a blitzball.
Beautiful. I mean, on brand for the character.
Way to die.
Right. Should we conclude on Digimon?
Yeah, that's so very good. So it's a very good show, but they kind of let it down in the last portion, and I really hope they're going to retcon it at some point. So here's the thing, though. The one thing I thought about this, we're talking about bad endings. Can we? I mean, there's loads that we think are universally considered bad endings. Can we think of one that every anime fan kind of sort of agrees is a good ending or a great ending?
About Evergarden?
Yeah.
I think a lot of anime. I've heard some people say they didn't like the fact they thought they didn't like the way that ended.
I think when people like the series, I've heard some criticism about the movie.
That's my point. People didn't like it. I loved the ending of the movie.
I did, but I think they do bring up good points. Like a lot of the original series as Violet trying to get over her losing the major, and they just bring him back in the sequel, kind of in
Yeah.
But
a
he
movie,
did-
kind of erasing a lot of that.
He did come back in the novel, so it is kin to the novels.
Yeah,
Plus, plus, I felt like at that point Violet had earned her happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I felt like it didn't get away from the point about loss and grief that the themes of the show.
Yeah, I guess giving her love back, like kind of, like because she's a veteran and everything, like the whole thing could have been about like exploring, getting past it, but yeah.
One that it's kind of funny with this one because the first time they did this, people hated it, but they loved the sequel, the reboot for it, Fruits Basket.
Yes.
Like I've heard, like obviously there's some people who prefer Yuki or Kia, one of the two, but even those who were like with the other were all like, okay, yeah, they made the right choice here.
Yeah, and it is that, and they did the best final shot they could have picked.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone disputes that Dragon Ball Z has a good ending.
No, they do. They really do.
Why do they dispute?
They really don't like Ood, and they really didn't like Oob. Sorry, they really don't like him
Because Oob is boo backwards.
Exactly. What's the issue with that?
They really didn't like the character. They really didn't like the fact that Goku just took off again.
That's what he does.
Which is now explained.
Yeah.
But the thing is, doesn't Super erase that one?
No,
it takes place before that.
Yeah, so in the whole time skip from the end of Boo and the end of Z is 10 years. So now with Diamond that just came out, it's a 6-month period to a year afterwards.
Yeah.
Diamond takes place.
We're really going to have to age him up fast.
Well, they've already done that, which was always Superhero with Goten and Trunks.
Yeah.
But then between Boo and then 4 years on was Battle of Gods.
Okay.
Then if it's a year or two after, then there's Resurrection F.
Right.
Okay.
And then it's Super.
Okay, is GT actually going to be in canon again or
No.
not?
No.
Never.
Because at this point, the Super manga is still going.
Unless there's like an amnesia event and then like they lose.
Because the only
God
good
and
thing,
then-
the only good thing to come out of GT was the original opening. That Dan.
I can't remember. I like GT.
Yeah.
It wasn't great.
Yeah,
but I liked
it was a 4th OP.
Yeah, but I found it interesting that Oob really didn't show up that much in GT. I think that was a response to his character.
Yeah, because and then we did show up to do something. He had to fuse with Boo to become Majub.
Yeah,
and then he still gets destroyed.
Yeah, no. So again, the character was not received very well, and I hate the fact they killed off Boo so easily. Oh fuck!
Easily.
I'm now going to type in 2 more.
I don't think we need to talk.
But
if people are spoiled on Dragon Ball Z at this point, that's their fault.
but talk about Oob some more though.
Yeah.
He's now foreshadowed in Super, where Dende talks to him, saying, "Goku, there's a super strong guy on Earth. He's very young now, looking for him in the future.
Yeah.
He's got great potential."
That's cool. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. That's interesting. So they are tying it back now.
Yeah.
That's good.
So it's not just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like Goku says, "Oh, you're the reincarnation of Boo. Let's go away together."
Yeah.
Right. No one say any other anime.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has a universally, like I would say.
I've read that ending is amazing.
It's
It's phenomenal.
I completely agree. It's perfect ending.
Perfect ending to show you.
Now the Netflix for now because live action films.
Even better.
Can I stress?
Yes, I love when they ripped up that scene from Terminator 2 with Envy.
One that keeps,
No, like, I think it was the last
John's
actually.
one that keeps going back and forth over whether people like it or dislike it. I've noticed the internet goes really back and forth on this one. Although I think it's a perfect ending. Clanad, specifically the ending of After Story.
Not seen.
One that people can bring up as a bad ending, which I absolutely disagree with, is Angel Beats.
No, I agree. I completely
Angel
agree.
Beats has an amazing ending.
The ending's that ending's fine. I think it's because they were comparing it with because Angel Beats is done by the same team that did Clanad, Canon, and
Charlotte.
Yeah, the list.
Charlotte was also
Yeah,
the same.
the list I was saying, the list kept saying, "Oh, it's too open ended. It's too open ended. You don't know everything." That's the idea.
Yeah. Also, while we're on the subject, Charlotte, way worse of an ending. I'm sorry, everyone that likes that show. How can you still defend that ending? That ending sucks ass so much.
I've not seen it.
Put it this way. Ren, you enjoying this conversation?
Pardon?
You enjoying this conversation?
I know what you're going to say.
That's the ending of Charlotte.
Right.
I
I wasn't expecting to be slapped, actually.
That's it. Yeah.
I thought you were going to do it. It doesn't matter what you think.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that show is like. Nice. We're all having a bit. Okay, this is kind of working. No, we're going to fuck you over.
Right.
Yeah, well, another ending a lot of people go on about is the end of Gurren Laggan, with how somber and depressing it is with Simon.
Sorry,
or how you're supposed to call him Simon.
That's the theme of the show. You're passing on to the next generation.
Yeah, but it's English dub that calls him Simon.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Parts of it does.
Yeah, they keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Just say to the Japanese, Simon is a better name than Simon.
Actually, would you guys say that Soul Eater has a bad ending?
So
Yeah.
I think it's alright, but a lot of people would say the anime, it was pretty bad.
I think given it's anime only, I liked it. I didn't know it was anime.
There was one bit of it that I thought was really dumb. Write this down. It's when they revealed that Maki was actually secretly a weapon.
Yeah.
That was dumb.
That was just going.
I don't think it happened. I don't remember it happening in the manga.
It
doesn't happen in the manga, from what I've heard.
The manga's ending's much better. I have actually. It's weird because I say that I have actually read the manga to completion.
I'd like to.
I'll tell you one that the biggest dividing one now though has been Attack on Titan because people either love that ending or they hate that ending.
Well, the feedback was so bad at first they had to rewrite some of it.
Yeah,
From what I heard, I don't know if you heard about this, but there's a studio called Studio Clips who are making an anime adaptation for the Black Swordsman arc of Berserk.
Okay.
They redid the ending of Attack on Titan, and according to a lot of people, it was even worse.
Wow.
No, the thing is, Attack on Titan was never going to have a good ending, though, in my opinion, because everything they had done past the point of getting to the basement was so crap that I was just tuned out of it.
I'm one of the few people who just really did not like the final season.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I didn't even get through part 1 just because it just wasn't the same show. It wasn't the show I wanted to watch.
By the time I got to the ending, I was just so on autopilot that it was just a case of, I'm so glad this is over.
Yeah.
So the ending just happened.
And even then, I think.
Uh-huh.
And then even then I was like, oh god, this is a terrible ending.
A
terrible ending for a show that really lost its way.
Yeah.
But again, loads of people disagree because some people love that ending, and I'm like,
I don't know how.
I'm wondering if. No, I'm not going to say that one because I don't want to get an angry comment section. I'm going to keep that one to myself.
Oh, it will get people commenting. Say it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm wondering if it's right wing people like it because of the.
I don't know what the end is.
I've talked to a few people about this. My uncle agrees with me that the final season isn't very good. However, I have 2 friends who did actually really like the final season. And in case they're watching, you're wrong. Shut up.
I'll tell you one I think it is, but I would say one that the point I made. We brought Cowboy Bebop, and I point out there was a couple of people that don't like the ending for the bittersweet.
Perfect ending.
But it's a perfect ending.
Perfect.
Yeah, again, it's like subjectively. It's like, what do you consider bad versus what is like.
Yeah, so there is always. So I think we should have made that much clearer from the start. There is always a subjective nature.
Yeah,
I mean, I try to be as objective as possible in my pick, but even then, there's always going to be a subjective nature to it because it's not going to. Mine and Elliot's are going to only hit hard because we were so into those shows building up to those endings. Whereas I would say Ren's one was a little more objective because he likes most of the show up to that point.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Reese, I would say yours are more objective than subjective.
It cannot be denied.
Until the halfway point, I was fully on board.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard most people say after episode 13, that's when the show goes bad. I disagree. After episode 15. Episode 15 was the peak of the show, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree with Elliot.
But the whole fact, it did not need to spend 3 episodes on a wedding between 2 side characters who are not developed.
Yeah.
Wasn't half the show split between studios?
Look,
am I making that up?
No. It was 2 studios coming together, and they also brought. But the one good thing that really did come out of Darling in the Franxx, I didn't mention this initially, is it's really where Cloverworks got their start because they were a support studio.
Nice?
They were really a support studio. They did a lot of the animation for that, support animation for that one, and it really got a lot of studios saying, okay, let's give them a project to do. And lo and behold, they got things like Rascal Doesn't Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, stuff like that.
They also got the Promised Neverland.
Who knew that
Season 2?
Who knew that piggybacking off a bad show would bring you success?
But the point is, we never would have got some of their really good shows if Darling in the Franxx hadn't been a thing. So, despite how bad that ending is, we got something good out of it.
Like a bad show, but net positive for the industry.
I'm going to point, like you can say, like, I'm gonna just look up what is anyway. Before we end this, I'm gonna now guess what is the highest rated
of our shows
of the Cloverworks anime on Anime Planet.
Okay.
So
This has come
A
completely out of
challenge that
nowhere.
no one asked for.
Yeah, just Monty Python. And now for something completely different.
because I want to sort of point out like what we got from that thing. Oh, incidentally, it's I forgot. Yeah, they did Spy Family.
Wow, what
Did Bocce the Rock?
Yeah.
They did Bocce the
Is
Rock.
this in terms of popularity? So Promise Neverland.
Yeah, there's popularity and this is like star rating. So we got
yeah.
Bocce the Rock, we got Spy Family, we got Horimiya, we got Dress Up Darling.
Horror Mia
cow.
was mixed.
There's
I like Horror Mia, but you have to admit it did feel like we were missing a lot.
Shadow's House, Elliot, you got that?
Yeah, I love Shadow's House. That show is so fucking good. Please give us season 3.
Windbreaker.
Yeah.
That one was so fucking good. We're gonna see.
Black Butler only continued because Cloverworks took it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Was that season 2? Oh no, that's the newest one.
That's
Yeah,
the
it's
newest
this one.
I was about to say, was that
So-
season 2 they did? Because that wasn't good from what I heard.
I mean, some of them haven't worked out quite as well. Like, I don't think people talk about Millionaire Detective, and yeah, we got Wonder Egg Priority
I
out of
like
it.
Millionaire
Yeah.
Detective.
But we got one of our Anime of the Year nominees is from Cloverworks, The Elusive Samurai.
Yeah. And all the way at the end is Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah, Darling in the Franxx is quite low down on this list, but weirdly, Bocce the Rock's movie is below it.
It's a recap.
It's a
Yeah.
recap.
Yeah.
But
It's a
incident-
recap.
Oh, that's Persona 5.
Persona 5, the animation
Animation.
came out of it.
Well, I
Yeah.
thought that was A1 Pictures who did that one.
Oh, sorry, Akabe's sailor uniform is not that bad.
Come
It's
on,
definitely better
Akabe's
than
Sailor
Darling.
uniform is great. Shut up.
What is the least?
I mean, you're looking on terms of popularity. What do you go back up?
Yeah. No, that's popularity is the star rating.
Right. Let's see.
So that's on average. So the only thing we would have got is
Okay, yeah.
So, but if you go by most watched, for example,
You might be on page 2 still.
I'm on page
Yeah.
3.
I
Yeah.
was
So
going to say definitely not powerful pro.
what?
Yaku powerful.
Incidentally,
Psycho.
Promise Neverland and Darling in the Franxx
Yeah.
topped that
Yeah.
list. More people watched those according by user data on this
Yeah.
than,
Yeah.
and this is by means they watched it to completion.
Right.
So so that the top 5 are Promise Neverland, then Darling in the Franxx, then Rascals of Dream Bunny Girl Senpai, then Spy Family, and then Horimiya. So people did go to the end of So what we actually have learned something from this because people did get to the ending of Darling in the
Yeah.
Franxx.
That's what I mean. Is I just consider 02 one of the most iconic anime.
I think they're so captivating from the first half. They're thinking
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Please be good.
So
What?
what do we think we can conclude on? I think
Some
I would say
Yeah.
I would say the one thing we discussed from this is with all our examples, bad endings in these cases, bad endings can ruin a show.
Yeah.
In these two, but in our case, I think bad endings didn't ruin their shows because people
Yeah.
still love Digimon and Mob
Yeah.
Psycho.
Yeah.
No, in my case, it ruined the season.
It ruined a season,
okay,
yeah. But
Whereas in mine, it killed
Oh.
a potential franchise.
Yes.
Although,
Before it got started.
although it was the final season of an 8. It was the final season of an 8
But
season long.
let's be honest, Reese. How much more could they have gotten out of Darling in the Franxx as a franchise?
Cal, if they pulled aliens out of their asses with 4 episodes left, they could have pulled anything else
So they
out.
didn't even give us a satisfactory conclusion to the Quaxosaurs.
I honestly think by the end of it, I was like, this did not need to be a franchise. They should have really just stuck to this being its own thing.
No, I agree. That's how it should be.
Oh, yeah.
But I think
That was what they were trying to aim for, and that was a stupid idea. They should have.
Especially the fact 2 members from Verm are still alive.
Yeah, they could
With
have
Papa and the Vice President.
spin-off movies.
Okay,
No.
so let's.
Could have done different casts. Could have done a Digimon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a pre-generation.
Okay, so I think it's time to conclude this one. So we're back next month on the 20th of December for our.
Christmas.
So we're gonna find out what our favourite anime of the. I know you hate me saying this, but the fall season because it turns up on everything else. So
Yeah.
do. So I'm gonna keep it as such. And a lot of great shows this season to pick up from. This has been a really good season.
Yeah. I'm sure Ren's very happy with one potential carryover.
And of course, wild cards are going to be given out.
Yeah.
God, bitches.
So I'm starting to write down my notes now of what the sort of order of things I want to pick are.
I think I've got my one.
I'll be starting to.
I think I've got one of my ones. It's just what the second one's going to be.
I've got mine too.
I only get one, right?
You only get one, yes. One day you're going to win Anime
Don't
Mastermind.
say that to me, Cal. It's not going to happen.
One day you might come second.
I only got one this year because I was scapegoat and did the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, Reese is in that position for next year. So
Yeah, in other words, it's going to be just him, me.
Yeah.
Maybe I
Maybe I should pick one.
hang on, I could win one year.
Cal, be realistic.
Mate, you won like in the last year's Kings' game. You won like 1.5 points. Go ahead, everybody.
So this is for earlier.
That's all, folks.
Take us out
That's
of here.
fair. That's
Bye.
fair. Good night, everyone.
Uh,
Ow.